Welcome back. You're watching Prime Property. Both builders and consumers have welcomed the Cabinet's decision to set up a real estate regulator. This is about 10 years late. We at Prime Property also welcomed the move, but would like to highlight several shortcomings in the proposed bill, and these should ideally be addressed before Parliament takes up the bill. The bill in this form fails to protect lakhs and lakhs of consumers that are hurting from two factors. First, an alleged Babu Builder nexus, and second, delayed government approvals, be it by the centre, state or even local authorities. For instance, the Union Environment Ministry is many months late in deciding an eco-sensitive zone around the Okhla Bird Sanctuary in New Delhi. As a result, 59,400 customers of several projects in Noida still do not know if they will lose their investment and their dream home. This as the National Green Tribunal passed an order with retrospective effect banning the grant of completion certificates for all projects falling within 2.5 kilometers of that bird sanctuary. The bill also does not provide protection for such consumers. Take another example, the infamous Campa Cola Society case in Mumbai, a society that's come up illegally as per the Supreme Court order, but it also did come up under the watch of the local municipality, the BMC. Then the Supreme Court is hearing an appeal against an Allahabad High Court ruling to demolish a tower that was belonging to Supertech in Noida. This as the High Court found the local development authority and the builder to be in collusion to build a taller tower. I reached out to DLF and international property consultant CBRE to flesh out what all needs to be addressed in the bill before it's passed by Parliament.
I think you've raised a very nice issue and a very important issue. I think the bill still lacks any accountability for the local bodies or the state government departments, and hence the power to actually misuse the discretion given to the authorities has just not been tackled. There is no time schedule for the bodies. There is no provision that once permissions are given, they cannot be re-examined and or even put into by stages, that at each stage you'll have to go back to the local body or to the local state government. I think those issues remain to be tackled in the bill as of now. And government authorities have not been made accountable. So I think those provisions need to be introduced to see that everyone works in a clean and transparent manner. While that is a promise which we have been making in the government all throughout, I don't think it's really been put into practice. That can the government deal with such a large burden? Should the government be accountable for its work? I think those local bodies and government departments will have to be included in the purview of the bill.
Mr. Talwar, the proposed bill proposes imprisonment for builders like yourself. It's talking about hefty penalties, but the local authorities and government officials have been left out. How do you react to that?
I don't agree with this question of imprisonment at all. Why should imprisonment come into this? There are various other remedies which have been given in the bill itself, which includes takeover of projects. So I think if there is a willful default and this is a dispute of which is civil in nature, I don't think imprisonment should come in at all. I mean, you are actually going to discourage people from coming into the industry, whereas the intent should be that as many people who can come into the organized sector should come in, provide competition to each other, provide a greater availability of such accommodation in the country, and make services which are transparent and clean. So I don't think we should keep people away from from the industry by threatening that yes, before we do anything else we can also imprison you. I think that's liable to be misused. So maybe Parliament will discuss this and resolve it.
Anshuman Magazine come in here. The bill is not including state government, centre, local authorities. So are the consumers really protected?
There has to be more accountability from the government, and along with the regulator bill, which I think overall is a positive step, there has to be steps taken by the government. For example, digitization of land records, getting the approval from like the completion certificate, which takes time. So there has to be some accountability from the government, and from the point that they have to also have some time period, that within this time period the developer will get completion certificate for projects, get other approvals which are required for the project. Because if you are keeping developers accountable, which is very good, but I think the government also should take some accountability, because otherwise you are putting regulation and the developers will still have an excuse that, look, we have done everything from our side, but we are still, from the government side, there are still delays in project approvals. There is also an environment issue, which is a big issue now in the development world. A lot of projects are stuck because of environment clearances. How do you address that?
Anshuman Magazine, the Narendra Modi government talks about maximum governance and minimum government. Do you fear that given what is being proposed in this bill, we're going to see more bureaucracy? Also, are the states, the centre, equipped to implement what all is being proposed?
See, the fact is, if our courts worked, if our legal system worked, we don't need another regulator. I mean, there is enough in the law that if a consumer has a problem, he can go to the court. But why doesn't he go to the court? Because he knows it may take 20 years before he gets redressal. And similarly, really we don't need a regulator as such. I was never in favor of it. But because our court system is slow and, of course, in some parts improving, but still people are not comfortable really taking the legal route because of the delays, this regulator has come in. The fact is, in theory, if this regulator, the way it's set up, if it really works, it certainly will be beneficial. But a lot of the developers and others feel that this may add another layer of approval process, kind of approval process, although they're saying it's going to be online, it'll be more efficient. But like you rightly mentioned, does the government have the capacity to execute? The fact is, there is capacity building which is required in the government side, and a lot of people do not talk about that. There is capacity building required at the municipal level, at the state level, and there is a real apprehension that this is one more layer. Already you have to go through so much of approval process to do any development, and then you have one more layer.
Mr. Dalbar, please come in here. One of the big reasons we've seen project delays is not just because of builders running out of money, it's also because of delayed government approvals. That is not being addressed in the bill. Also, there was all this talk of a single window clearance procedure. Are you disappointed that this bill does not have a single window clearance?
I think that was a misplaced enthusiasm of some people, largely in the government, which said that a single window clearance will be provided, because all clearances are under different statutes and in different departments. I don't know whether they would like to lose their authority, or maybe an omnipotent authority will be put above all of them and their powers would be delegated to this single window. But that has not been possible in the country till today, with various acts being governed by various authorities and various departments. So let's be realistic that while this was a dream, this was a concept, it would take a lot in the state administration and local body administration to concentrate all of them in a single window. Even the regulator does not intend to do that. The regulator is only a registering authority, and thereafter something which will hopefully regulate the general conditions in an organized sector called real estate, housing and construction, but does not intend to use any powers to give you sanctions itself.
How do you react to the fact that commercial real estate has been brought under the purview of the bill?
It was meant for housing. It has got expanded to commercial real estate. I don't know how that covers buyers, because in residential housing it was meant for people who are investing their lifetime's savings in a house and with their lifetime's savings to be invested there. Now, in commercial real estate, it's normally an investment. So I don't know, who needs protection there?
I'm sorry, I have to disagree with you on that front. Consumers also spend their hard-earned money into commercial real estate. You have plenty of builders that promised, guaranteed returns. So why shouldn't commercial real estate be part of this bill?
I think it would be unwise to say that any organized sector is coming out with guaranteed returns, because the cost of money being there, who can give you returns like this? We all know very well that the organized real estate industry never comes out with such offers, and hopefully should desist from coming out with such offers. And therefore, if the intention was originally to protect the buyer of homes, because there were many malpractices which were suggested and which were quoted, though we all think that these were largely from the unregulated part or the unorganized part of the industry, but if it covers everyone, so be it.
And coming to that entire debate between carpet area and super area, finally we do have some clarity.
Yes, you're very correct. This is an issue. After all, a super area is largely dependent on the footprint of the building and the open spaces around flats, normally called balconies. I think the carpet area concept will now lead to a situation where the carpet area will be stated very clearly, what is in the super area and what is included, and therefore people will get to know what kind of buildings they're staying in, what kind of quality of buildings they want, and depending on that clarity they will make an investment or a decision to buy a flat or an office or not.
While something is better than nothing, let's do hope all of those shortcomings are indeed addressed before the Parliament takes up the real estate regulator bill. On that note, we're going to slip into a short break. On the other side, we're going to bring you an exclusive sneak peek into Marriott International's plans for India. Stay tuned.